Hi, I'm Lindsay with Custom Love Gifts, Events, and Prints, and today I'm going to tell you how to make yourself famous and use photo shoots and DIY videos to increase your sales. First, I'll tell you a little bit about our business. So we specialize in wedding planning and day of coordination, and we also create gourmet wedding favors and sell wedding invitations. We've been published recently in Wedding Planner magazine, which added credibility to the wedding planning portion of our business. We've also had our signature drink DIY how-to published in DIY Weddings magazine, and they were so excited about it. In the next publication, they actually put our products on the back cover of their magazine. And recently, we got an $800 sale where somebody called in because they saw one of our how-to videos on YouTube. All of this was great publicity, but it also added credibility to our brand, and it made it able for us to position ourselves as DIY gurus as well as wedding experts. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we made our DIY videos make us famous. But first, let me tell you some bad news. Everything wasn't a success in the beginning, and we actually had a pretty hard road where we wasted a lot of time and a lot of money to develop our process. So our featured publication strategy that we have starts with a little bit of homework in the beginning, because we really feel like doing your homework in the beginning makes it so you have better results in the end. A DIY video and a photo shoot is an investment, and just like any other investment in your business, you want to see results and you want to see a return on your investment. So today we're going to share our featured publication strategy with you to help your results get a little bit better. So there was a wedding venue that I did a photo shoot with a few years ago. We were on site for 2 full days for free, and I was paying 2 assistants to be on hand for those 2 days. I had big dreams about what was going to come about with that wedding shoot, and in the end, I got nothing for it. No referrals, no publication. When I say nothing, I really mean nothing. It was a huge failure. And at that point, I promised myself that I would never go into another DIY video or photo shoot without results. And we also promised ourselves that we wouldn't rely on any other vendors to make those results happen. So we developed our featured publication strategy. So the first thing that you're going to want to do with our strategy is to define what your goals are for your DIY photo shoot. So maybe your goals are going to be to boost your SEO and increase traffic to your website. You might want to increase brand awareness or introduce a new service to your local market. Or you could want to position yourself as an industry expert. Or ultimately, a big goal that everybody has is to increase sales, of course. So this all helps you create a clear concept for your video and shoot, and it also helps you choose where you would like your shoot to be published. Next, what you're going to want to do is research different publications that will accept content from you. So for example, you could scout wedding blogs. Something that I like to do is scout the top 100 wedding blogs, and there's an easy website that we use to find out what those are. It's called weddingblogs100.com, so it's not too hard to remember, and it lists the top 100 wedding blogs by the US, Canada, and also worldwide in order. So that's a good place to start, but really getting on each individual wedding blog to see if they're taking submissions, what kind of submissions they would like to have, can be pretty tedious overall. So we like to use a preferred method, which is called 2 bright lights. And now 2 bright lights, if you haven't heard of it, it's a liaison basically between people that have content that they want published and publishers that need content for their blogs or their magazine. With 2 bright lights, you can get a free account, or you can pay $15 like we do to have an account where you can actually actively submit yourself. What this does is it means that you're no longer required to wait on the videographer or the photographer to do the submissions, because you are in complete control of the submissions. So we prefer Too Bright Lights, and something else that they do that I really like is that they will actually have a request tab. So if you go into Too Bright Lights and you look under the request tab like I did today, there's 602 requests from publishers that are looking for content. And they're telling you exactly what they want and what they're looking for. And all you have to do is give the people what they want and create a DIY photo shoot centered around what they're asking for. Not only does this increase your chances of getting published, but it also gives you a clear and defined end product, the way it should look. So you know if you're going to publish something on Style Me Pretty, you know what kind of shoots they would like to publish. You probably wouldn't send Style Me Pretty the same type of shoot that you would necessarily send to a blog like Rock and Roll Bride or The Offbeat Bride. Now, another way for you to choose who you want to send your submissions to is to look at traffic. Now, that's another reason why I like Too Bright Lights. One reason that publishers, when they're on Too Bright Lights, if you don't have at least 25,000 visitors a year, you're not even going to be allowed on Too Bright Lights as a publisher. So you're guaranteed that some of the blogs on there definitely do have traffic. Some blogs will actually list their traffic number directly on their website. So if you're looking for that, what you're going to want to do, get on the actual blog itself and look under either a tab that says submissions or advertise with us. And they might give you some cold, hard facts about their traffic, either monthly or annually. Because there's some big wedding blogs, Style Me Pretty for example, it has almost 1.5 million visitors every month. That's a pretty big leap from 1.5 million visitors a month to just 25,000 visitors a year. So you can be pretty selective when you're looking at blogs in that way and looking at how much traffic a blog has. Something that we like to do also is look at blogs based on their Google rank. So in case you didn't know, Google will rank a website on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 means you didn't even make the cut to be listed on Google at all. So 0 is bad. 10 is actually reserved for some of the top websites that I know you've heard of, like Google itself. And to date, there's only 4 websites that actually rank as a 10, like Google and Apple.com and Adobe.com, so some really big players. Even some of the major websites that you've heard of, like Yahoo's still a 9. So if you're looking at Google rank, this is going to help boost your SEO. When you have a higher Google rank, a link to your website is going to have a little bit more of a boost for your SEO and a little bit more power behind it if you are considered a contributor to that blog. So if your submission gets accepted by a big blog like Style Me Pretty, you're going to have a little bit more power in that link than you would if you got accepted by a much smaller blog that only has about, let's say, 25,000 visitors a year in a lower Google ranking. So just to give you an idea, Google ranks as a 10, Style Me Pretty ranks as a 6, and one of the other big players in the wedding industry, The Knot, ranks as a 7. So if you're trying to base your submissions based on Google rank, what you're going to want to look for is for a website that ranks anywhere between a 3 is pretty good, all the way up to a 7. You're probably not going to get much higher than that. You can use checkpagerank.net for free and get the Google rank of any website, including your own, if you haven't checked that out yet. So the other thing you need to know when you're selecting submissions is there's 2 different types of submissions. There's exclusive blogs, and then there's also non-exclusive blogs. And it can get a little bit hairy if you do the wrong thing. You might offend somebody. So know this now, if you're submitting to an exclusive blog, which usually a lot of the blogs that have higher traffic and better Google rankings are exclusive, you are not going to be allowed to submit that shoot to any other publication or blog until it's been accepted and published. And even after it's published, for you to submit again, you're going to want to wait at least 6 months, if not an entire year. So a non-exclusive blog is just that. They'll accept your submission and publish it, even if it's been published somewhere else. An exclusive blog, they want first dibs on your submission and on your content. You can't have submitted it or published it anywhere else. Sometimes I do make an exception if you publish things on your own blog, but just to be sure, I personally don't publish anything on my own blog if I'm publishing it or trying to get it published in an exclusive blog. I'll wait, let it get published for the exclusive blog, and then feature it on my own blog later. So the other thing that you want to be pretty aware of when you're developing what your DIY photo shoot is going to be for is timing. First and foremost, publishers plan way in advance. Nobody wants your DIY holiday drink how-to submitted in November. That's not going to help. And if you haven't ever heard the term Christmas in July, it comes from a lot of publishers start looking at the holiday season and what they're going to be doing for the holiday season in July. So that's almost 6 months in advance. And the other thing you need to think about when you're thinking about timing is you have to wait for editing. You really have to wait a long time sometimes if you're working with a busy wedding photographer or a busy wedding videographer, and figure out how long it's going to take them to actually get the photos or the video back to you edited so you can submit it. Something that definitely might make a big impact on that is, are you smack dab in the middle of wedding season? If so, it's more than likely that your photo shoot or video is going to be put on the back burner because paying clients are waiting for their photos first. So when you're thinking about vendors, what I like to do is put everything out on the table first. I like it to be written. I don't necessarily have a contract when I work with other vendors for a DIY photo shoot, but I do like to have a rule book, some guidelines put together, and I like for it to be written either via email thread that includes all of the vendors or a Facebook group that includes all of the vendors. What this can do is it really, A, can help with timing and make sure that you get those photos back in a reasonable amount of time. And B, it can also clearly define roles and responsibilities for what each vendor is in charge of. I once did a photo shoot. This is back to the mistakes. I once did a photo shoot where I was to style everything for the photo shoot. We weren't the coordinator. We weren't planning anything. We just were there to make things pretty. Something got fumbled along the way, and the photographer thought they were actually going to be taking real estate photos of the venue. So they only brought one certain lens with them to the photo shoot. They didn't know anything about lots of details for the how-to or lots of little items that needed to be taken a picture of. And because roles and responsibilities weren't clearly defined, and I am a wedding planner, to that photographer, it definitely could have looked like I dropped the ball and made the mistake and didn't tell them to bring the correct lenses and know what to plan for the day. So that's what I look back on as a big failure. We didn't even fail, but it totally looked like we failed. And it was a pretty big, well-known photographer in our area. Another issue that we came across before was we did a New Year's Eve shoot with super cute details, all with the year 2014 on them. We did this shoot months and months in advance to give lots of time for publication. And then the photographer didn't give me the pictures back until December 29th of that year. So trying to be published for New Year's Eve was almost not going to happen. The only way we were able to get it published is I had a great connection with a blogger friend of mine that was willing to drop everything and write a featured blog on our cute little New Year's Eve photo shoot just in time for it to be published. So that, again, was almost a big failure, and it all had to do with timing. The other thing that you're going to want to have is an easy list of all the contributors that are part of the photo shoot shared with all of the vendors, so that way credit can be given where credit is due and vendors know how to tag each other appropriately, what website to send everybody to, and there's definitely nobody left out because you don't want anybody to be left out after all of that hard work. So most importantly, you want to ask yourself, how are you going to make money doing this? For us, it's a little bit easy. We sell stuff, and when we try to do DIY videos, we try to sell our stuff. But not everybody is in the ability to sell wedding supplies like us. So a couple of other ideas that you can have to monetize your DIY video is to use affiliate links. Amazon is a good example of some affiliate links. Or you could also sell tutorials. So for example, there's a company that does tons of advertising on Instagram with beautiful paper flowers. And they have how-to videos that you can watch on how to make beautiful paper flowers. But if you feel like you're not going to cut the petals perfect, you can pay $5 for a PDF of lines to trace to cut out the perfect petal and make the flowers with their how-to video. So the video shows you how, but they show you a little bit of a better way for $5. So that's a great way to monetize your how-to video. So the other option that you need to think about is, how are you going to present your DIY? Are you going to use photo? Are you going to use video? Are you going to do both? Well, it's obviously up to you and also up to the vendors that are involved. I personally like to do both because I like to have the photos to use as images for our marketing and images for social media, but I know that video gets so much more love on social media than photos do. For one, I like to put all of our videos on YouTube. There's several different reasons. One, I know that about 64% of millennials actually use YouTube very actively, especially when they're planning their wedding. And when I talked about that $800 sale that we got off of a how-to video, that video was on YouTube, and it has such a high Google rank on YouTube. When somebody used to search Google for mini mason jar wedding favors, we actually came up on the first page of Google, but it wasn't my website that came up on the first page. It was a how-to video on how to make mini mason jar wedding favors that we shared on YouTube. The other thing I like about YouTube is your video is there forever. It's not like some of those live videos that they have now, that they're only there for 24 hours or while you're filming or a limited time, and then after it's gone and you lost it. YouTube keeps it there forever because that $800 sale that I got was from a video that was posted to YouTube a year and a half before the sale actually happened. YouTube also allows for a higher click-through rate on social media, and for me, I think that that's super important. And also, something like a Facebook ad is going to be less expensive when you're linking to a blog or you're linking to a YouTube video than it would be if you had that Facebook ad campaign linked directly to your own website. So you're going to save a little bit of money and cost per click if you choose to kind of loop around and do your YouTube video first, and then if they're interested, let them click through to your website. So when we're thinking about videos or photos or both, it all comes down to how you're going to share that content with social media. And so when we get featured, we actually use a process called social media layering that allows us to have the highest impact of visualization. So the highest number of people are going to check us out because of our social media layering strategy. And with that, it doesn't matter to me if you pin or you post or you tweet or you Instagram. We do what we can to be hashtag in your face across all of those social media outlets. And I'd like to tell you more about our social media layering strategy, but I'm running out of time. So if you're interested in learning more about our social media layering strategy that we use to help monetize our DIY videos, or you're interested in checking out more about custom love gifts, events, and prints, you and I will just have to hope that we make it to the next round of the Wedding MBA. Thank you. Bye-bye.